Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we will going to continue our series on making Python Tinker projects. In today's topic we have chosen a topic as expense manager. It is a project in which we will going to manage our day-to-day finance through the expense and track it how it has been actually going, and would have set the budget, and it has been right here. You can see I have included the details at the start of it, as I have given it will be using the modern UI using CustomTkinter. Here's a latest Python Excel library for the creating an GUIs that you will going to today see like this. You can let me see it. Like you can see, has been a really modern and really strong and good way to make it. Okay, so let us see what we have required to install for it. As most of the libraries are inbuilt right here, so we will need to install the pip install CustomTkinter and matplot library in our terminal, and then we will going to use the SQLite as in a database, SQLite 3 as in a database, which is an easy alternative for the MySQL for creating an inbuilt this database. Okay, these kind of database which will and locally can be managed. Okay, so for that we check out what we have imported right here. First of all, the database is SQLite 3, and then the GUI components as this, custom tinker as STK, and then tinker's preview library functions, and then the message box and its own simple dialog as SD, and then the date time, and then as for the charts we have using the matplot library. Right here you can see matplot, and right here you can see it has in a different configuration type that we have used to be seen in the tinkers. What these basically do, it sets the themes like system, dark or light. If the user wants to change it to set appearance mode like to dark, then it will go to the dark, or either light then light, or system, which is the normal way. Okay, and then for the color theme you can also define it like this: blue, dark blue and green. Okay, as examples. And right there we have came to our database name as expenses db, and right here we have the basically setup of it, how we have a setup it out. And right here I have using the variable as equal container is equal to SQLite dot connect to the db file, and then we will going to create a cursor is equal to connector dot cursor, and then we will going to use it for creating our two tables, which is one for the expense and one for the budget. Okay, and right here you can see I have using the SQL query by inside of the cursor dot execute right here at the create table. If there is no table right there of it is exists, then it will going to create a table name as expense, and we will going to have an id as integer, primary key, auto increment, and then the date as text, then category as text, and description as text, and amount as real. Okay, and then similar way we have the table for the budget. We have right there created a category which is a similar like that. Okay, category which is the primary key of it, and then the budget limit which will be set up by the real. Okay, and then we will going to comment that particular cursor changes to the or main database that you can see by using a connector. Okay, and then we have created a logic part. This is the basically how we have created a functions and business logic right here. You can see. Okay, first of the part we have using the function as dev add expenses, if not amount variable as get, and it's not stripped, or any particular category of it not there, then it will going to show we will going to show an error like category amounts and required for the particular thing. Okay, and if the user particularly do a particularly amount mistake in the or part, it will going to just say the user please enter the amount in the numerical value. If he or she has entered the 1 lakh, like he or she have to just write it 1 lakh quantity. Okay, and then we have the data values of it. Data, it will going to fetch the date values, date variable get strip if that particular date is there, and it will going to just strip that out, else if the particular date time will be set it to there of that particular thing. Okay, and then at the end we will going to execute an SQL command by using our cursor for variable as cursor.execute, and insert we have defined the SQL query as insert into expenses date category description amount values and amount variables as that you can see right here. We have defined it and connect. We will going to commit them out, and right here we have using the recursion concept that you can see I have calling this function right there, which will going to I will tell you how it is going to work. It is going to first clear fields and then the load all of the data again. Okay, and then the message box as so info added expense added successfully. Okay, dev check inf. Then we have get to the next function, which is the for the basically the budget checking. First of all, we will going to select the particular SQL budget limit from the budgets where the category of it has been included, and it will going to just fetch that particular one. If row of it doesn't there, then return it. Okay, and limit of the values will be seen by the 0 of it index. Okay, and from that, and then it will going to check the amount each of the sum by the using the SQL command as sum amount of the particular all of the expenses from that particular category. If the spend, and then it will going to check out the cursor by the fetching one from the particularly the database, how much we have selected to the spending and how much we have it has been left. If the spent value is more than the limit value, then it will go to show in a message box, so warning as person budget exceeded, you have exceed the budget for the particular category and budget limit value as this and then the spend as this. Okay, and then we have basically two simple functions like the clear fields, which will going to particularly clear the date variable and category description one and then the amount one variable after each and every entry has been done. Okay, and operations has been done, it will going to just for the resetting up similar and then we have added in an exception part as tree dot selection remove. We're going to remove that, and then tree selection as 0. As in the update and delete part, it will going to select that particular thing, so it will going to particularly just needed to remove. Okay, if it has been not there, then simply just pass that. Okay, and then for the next function, which is how its own data has been going to load it up. Okay, for the load records, we have added here then a search query. If the particular string of that is equal to none, then it will going to just pass out enough array as like that. For in row tree get childs, and it will going to just split all of the rows if the search query has been there. Okay, then as per the or description or need, we will going to just pass that particular thing according to the category or the description by order by date and description of it. Okay, and that you can see right here, I have written it like that. Its own logic in the SQL and the Python. Okay, and if the user doesn't add in a search query, then it will going to simply just call all of the data values and order by the date and description of it. Okay, and for the next part, which is the how it is going, it will just going to add all of the results in the particularly tree format of it and show results. And then we have the particularly functions as the update and delete, which will going to first of all add in a variable as pre-selection for the selecting particular values from the or database entry or the expense. And if the particular thing is not selected, which you can see same in the delete and update, just the show error part is different, message is different. Select an expense right here to delete and select a record to update. And in the delete logic, it has been a simpler, just it will going to just take out the particularly an item's first ID, and then it will going to just take out the all of its values as equal to tree dot items item of it and the values that you can see. And then the user will be asked yes in through the message box library as dot ask yes no, and then the message is confirm, and there delete expense id of that, and its own expense id will be called as this way from the particular index of the list that we have got of it. And then particularly delete from expenses where the id of that particular value will SQL array will be executed and then committed out, and then the tree lead will be again executed for that particular part. And once it is done, then it will going to show in a success message that you can see. Okay, and now how its own particularly part is going to be done in the updates part. Okay, right here you can see it has been the different type of GUI setuping components like CTK top levels, and its own title will be changed and its own geometry will be like that, as it is we going to create particularly a new window for it, added window, like we have created added window equal to CTK top level, and then on in the particular app that we have made in it, and then we will going to give another title as the update expense, and geometry of it I have defined it like that. If you have any desire for changing it, then you can particularly do it. Okay, and then we have the particularly, it will going to just take the all of its values from that particular variables of the values we have gotten from the, like we have selected up date, category, and then the description and amount of it, and then it will going to show in a basic layout like that you can see. As you can see, it has been showing the as ctk dot ctk label, and then the edit variable, edit window, and then it's text as this date one, and then packet it the padY as 1212. Okay, and then it has the entry of it padY padx like that, and the filled by the access this way, and then the its own variable that you can see right here. And similar way with the category has been happened with the very different type of an padY and padx according to its own need. That is basically the experimental thing that you can just do it on your own. If you like that particular GUI, then you can keep it or not. Okay, then the description and amount, and at last we have created an insider function as save updates. For that, it will go into just in a try an exception we have written there new for the amounts. It will go into just check the particularly amount that has been added is font or not. If again it has been just wrong, then it will go into show this error that has been on the add expense. Okay, and then we will going to use in a cursor dot execute and execute on SQL command as update expenses, set particular date, then the category, then description and amount where the particular ID of it has been given from selected before, and then all of its data has been going to taken out, and then it will going to just commit it in the, and it will be loaded, and once again all of its data will be records will be reloaded, and then the GUI will be destroyed of the edit window. Okay, and then it will going to show an success message as this, and then the button of the save changes will be as this. Okay, you can see. And at last for the functions part, it has been the particularly things as the report and graphs as diff show report as cursor dot execute select particularly substrings as date to 1 to 7 as the month, and then the sum of the from the expenses grouped by month and order by the month in the descending orders. This way we will going to just particularly get an monthly report data for the particular SQL, and then the data will be going to fetch out through using an or cursor fetch all SQL method, and we will going to just use a particular first line as monthly expense report, and like that it will be present, and then all of its particularly data has been going to show out like that. For month it will going to just particularly append it like this, and then in the message box it will going to show that particular info as monthly report as and join report lines again as it will going to append it, and at last which is the particularly showing the graphical report of that particular that we have get it right here. Okay, similarly we will going to just in a see in a category and sum of all of the amount from the expense which will be grouped by the category that you can see. I have used the select category comma sum of the particular amounts from expenses table, and then group it by category. Okay, and then the data is equal to cursor dot fetch of will be user. If the data is not there, then it will going to just show a polite message to the users as a no data or no expenses has been there to plot. Okay, and then it will going to just return that value. And if the particular thing is there, then you can just see the particular thing as this. It will going to just use the d, okay, the first, okay, the first will be category. Okay, and then the x and y coordinates has been defined, and then the plot we will going to just create a graph as this. You can see the we have used the matplotlib figure and figure size as 7 by 4, and then bar bar chart as the categories as x and y as the amounts, and then we have defined the title and its x and y labels, and give it in a rotation x-axis as 45 degree, and then for giving it in a type layout for the showing it, and at last for running it in the normal Python script we have using the show method, and sometimes it gets in a error right there. Okay, and at last we have functions of the budgets and searching. Okay, right here you can see. Okay, right here you can see I have used the simple dialog box for the R strings as budget category, enter name, and then if the category is thing is not selected, or then it will going to just return that, or then the limit will be asked out, and then if it is none, then it will going to set it that way, and insert or replace that particular thing from the budget table of the category and budget limits in its values, and that you can see I have imported like that and committed them, and message box success message as this will be, and then we have the basically one function for the searching expenses that we have included in our basically the loading parts. Okay, that you can see search enter keyword as category or description. Okay, and then if not anything will be there, then it will going to just particularly is not null, then it will going to just strip that particular thing out, and then it will going to load that particular function. Okay, so guys, we have came to our next part, which is how its own GUI has been actually defined, and we have before the particular thing we have defined check out how its own functions for the buttons as the add expense, clear fields, and search for button, and setting budgets and report, and the expense graph, and the delete expenses and update has been already been established how. So for that we will going to see how we have actually made it for the our users, or the how it will going to actually look out. Okay, so let's go and see how it has been actually been seen. So right here you can see I have defined a particular UI as the starting way, like we do in the tinkers as the way as apps equal to, right, we use the tk. For it we have using the custom ctk, and then the ctk class, and then the apply the particular title as this, and then the geometry as this, which is basically adjustable according to your need. Okay, and then we had defined the grid columns as this way, and the configure as 0, weight as of them as this, and you can see first column as this, and then the second and third. Okay, and then the row as a 0, weight as 1, and then the left panel as this way. At see right here, on the left panel we have created a frame by using a CustomTkinter, which will go into right here using a master is equal to particularly app as that we had defined, and then the corner radius of it will be as the 8 for the rounder surface. And then we have packed it by using a grid function by you add as rows equal to 0 and column as 0, and then the basically same way as Tinker does, and then the pad y and pad x as 12. Okay, and then we have given in a title box as CTK label, that you can right here see it has in a particularly different types of customizable units like background color, font colors, and text colors, and so much more. Okay, that you can just check out on your own by you directly checking the documentation of it. Okay, and the left we have defined it right, the left to the left panel, and then the text as the expense manager, font as this CTK font, and then the size as 20, and weight of it as the bold, and then packet by the pad y as 12,8. And then you can see I had defined its variable like this in the string variable format by using a CustomTkinter, that you can see CTK string variable, and similar way with the category, description, and amount variable part, like we have done the date. Okay, then we have the inputs part, which is basically on the left panel how we had defined it. Okay, so it has the particularly like you have seen the edit window has been defined there. It is similar like that we have defined there here. Okay, as right here I have used on the CTK label and the CTK entry, and they're defining the frame as the left panel both of side, and then the text as date one with the example how it's and should be given, and then the particular it's on date variable, and then we have packet on that way one by one in the steady orders like that you can see, and with this particular pad y and pad z, and fill it to the XSS entry like there, and anchor with the W side. Okay, each of them. Similar way we have done the category with its particular variable, and that you can see it has the similar pad x and pad y and anchor and fill part. Okay, and with similar way descriptions, and then the other parts of it that you can just check out on your own. Okay, so next let's go to our next part, which is how we had defined its buttons. Okay, that you have seen right there, it has the rounded buttons a bit. So let's see how it has been defined. First of all, we have created a button frame by using CTK frame function or class. Okay, left panel as, and given it a font color as transparent, and then the font button frame will be packed inside there, inside the left panel. Okay, and then it has the buttons of the particular commands that you can see inside. It has the button frames, it has been defined like this buttons, okay, and then its own taxes and their particularly functions that you can see right here, and it has been packed according to their own needs. Right here you see add expenses, which was the bigger one. It has different type of style pad y and like this 4,6, and similar way for the expense graph pad y as this way. And then we have the records. For the recording part we have created an right panel frame as this. You can see I have defined the master of it as the app, and then corner radius of it as 8, and then packet on the column of the one index of it with the similar row that we have defined the left, and sticky it by there, and then the pad x and y as 12, and then configure that particular thing like this. And then we have given a title as the expense records as this way, and then the font by using in a similar way that we had defined before, as the size as 18 and width as this way, and then the packet in the grid format as this. You can see right here the row as 0, column as this 0, and sticky is equal to w, and then pad x as 12, and then pad y as 8. And then we have the particularly data showing part, which is the how we have used the tree view inside that particular frame that you can see. Okay, first of all we have created an tree frame inside that the right panel that you can see, and then the font color as a transparent, and then the frame will be defined as this way, and the second row, which is basically the first index of it. Okay, and then we have using a Python basic property, which is the preview through the tinker way, which is using the columns as id, date, category, description, and amount. Okay, and then we have style it like that, its own row heights in the tree view format, configure it, and then we have particularly using in a tree variable for the, then we have using in a module as tta, and then the class inside of it tree view, and then inside that particular frame of tree frame, and then columns equal to columns of it, and we have defined its headings, and then select mode of them as the browser for the particularly CustomTkinter modes, and then we have used in the for loop like there that you can see for just reducing our efforts like this way, particularly using the heading first of all, and then the columns of them as this way, and anchor them at the center, and width of each of them as 120. And then we have the particularly the scroll bars x and y side ones, is that you can see vertical or horizontal one will be going to like using in a tree view module again for their using a scroll bar tree. Inside the tree frame we have defined the orient of them as the vertical, and command them as tree view dot y view, and then the similar way for the horizontal part. Okay, and then the configure them like this, and just give them the space like that. Okay, and then we have configured the row and particular columns of the tree frames like this way, as we have to do it in our particularly the the particularly custom tinker part, and then the action buttons has been defined like that frame there, that you can see it has the similar way that we had defined the things. We had defined its positioning as this, row as 2, column as 0, and sticky EW. Sticky to the east west side, to the pad x12, and then the pad y as 0 comma 12. And then again we had defined the buttons right here, you can see, for the clear expenses and the update parts. Okay, and then at last for the set initializing the particular thing GUI, we'll first of all initialize the records from the database by using an load records, and then particularly it will going to just run that particular app for it. Okay, so let's go to our demonstration part, how it has been actually been done. Okay, right here you can see I have already entered the sum of the IDs as this, you can see, as the ID as of the video game as this, and then description as this, and their amount as this way. Right here let me just use a particular thing as the listen. It has shown the ID. If I will going to know, then it will going to cancel it out. If yes, then it will going to just delete that, and success message can be shown like it has been said before. Okay, and then this way I have going to just add that particular things, like it has been just on a different date, like 10 for example, instead of 8, and it was something different type of now, like this one category, not hard disk, it was like. Okay, then after this we have came to our next part, which is showing how its own next part has been actually working, like in the records right here. Let me just add a fruit right here. Okay, I have accident, okay, like this way. For example, we will going to just use it like that. Maybe in future we will someone will came and just going to slap me off for this category as this way. And this and the description, and then the amount as for example like that. Expense has been added there, and if the anything we want to just use a clear, that has been cleared. And for the category we will just search it out, and it has show the category space. And then again for the just going to use a caps lock right there as for seeing how its own search function has been working like this. Okay, it has shown the whole. Okay, right here you can see the error check for the add expense has been given, and okay, let me just refresh that particular thing out. Okay, it has been refresh it out like that, and then the budget has been going to set it like that. If you do this, it has go to the somewhere else as this. I will going to just take it out like that, budget as this way. But for checking the budget function has been actually working, we will going to just check out the monthly report and how it has been defined. Right here you can see it has shown the monthly wise category of it here, and monthly wise the price is in Indian rupees. Okay, right here and then the expenses as this way, expense by category, and the end we will going to just add another thing from the, as before I had defined the this one limit which is actually exceeded. So for showing that, I will going to just write an example like that. For example, 07 and then the 09 and BSJ and then JJJ and then this way, and expense has been added. It has so the warning to us it has exceeded out. So right here you can see this way. That's it for today, guys. You can see it has been working properly and it has a good GUI example of making through the new way like we were used to do in the Tinker through the Python. And right now we have the CustomTkinter one, which is the way more advanced and modern one, and could have made an GUI or offers more advanced and more user friendly and user good experiences and so much more. So if you guys enjoy it and learn from it, then you can just give a like and subscribe to my channel. And if you have any particular query, then you can just go to the comment section and comment it out. And that's it for today, guys. Bye bye.